I remember that night the way you remember the instant a storm breaks. It was close to 10:30, and I'd just finished a 14-hour shift working wrecks on the interstate, 1 jackknifed semi. 2 totaled sedans, 1 fatality. The smell of burned rubber still clung to my jacket as I turned toward my new place in Cedar Ridge Estates. The streets were slick and empty under the sodium lamps. The guardhouse dark at that hour, key cards only. That's when I saw the pearl-white Lexus idling broadside across the entry lane, blocking the keypad. I tapped my horn, polite. No movement. The driver's door swung open and out stepped Monica Hale, tall, composed, raincoat cinched, blonde hair coiled tight like authority itself. She didn't wave for help, she just planted herself like a gate in human form. Evening, I called. Need a hand? She slid back into the Lexus, throttled forward, and clipped my F-150's brush guard with a jolt that rattled my wheel. I killed the engine. And stepped out. Ma'am, you were blocking the gate, I said. You slammed into me, she snapped, already live streaming to the HOA page. 2 porch lights blinked on. Curtains twitched. Her voice carried. Name's Monica Hale, president of the Cedar Ridge HOA. You're in violation the second that rust bucket touched our property, and you rammed my Lexus. I kept my hands visible. My voice even. The little red light on my body cam, quiet, steady, recorded everything. 2 big guys, Trent Doyle and Caleb Norris, strode up in rain-dark hoodies, flashlights riding their fists like batons. Everything okay, Ms. Hale? Trent asked, eyes already on me. Not remotely, Monica told her audience. Get his plate. Call a tow. Ma'am, I said, let's exchange insurance like normal. Nothing about you is normal, she said, angling her phone to catch my dented brush guard, then her untouched fender. When the performance needed drama, she dragged 2 fingernails across her own wrist, quick, shallow scratches blooming in the drizzle. He grabbed me, she cried for the camera. Trent took a step, I tilted my chin toward my chest pocket. You're being recorded. He hesitated. Neighbors gathered, curious, wary. Last chance, Monica said sweetly. Apologize on camera and I might let you keep your gate pass. Ma'am, I told her, I won't apologize for something I didn't do. She spun to her phone. Non-compliant. Proceed by the book. So would I. My book, clipped to my chest, doesn't miss. I eased through after the gate opened, leaving Monica and her muscle circling her Lexus like crime scene techs in a skit. Cedar Ridge Estates looked peaceful on the surface, lake fog, neat lawns, amber lamps, but the place watched itself. Curtains settled as my truck rolled by. A young woman across Birch Lane, Lila Hart, yanked a tarp over her flower bed and slipped inside, eyes down. Fear has a posture, the neighborhood wore it. At my place, I set my keys down. Unclipped my body cam, and laid it blinking on the counter. A folded note whisked under my door a moment later, I saw what she did. I recorded it. Be careful. They don't like strangers. LH. I looked toward Lila Hart's window. A laptop glow blinked out. Witnesses willing to speak up are rare. They've usually had enough. By morning, a post from Monica Hale lit up the forum. We have reason to believe a new arrival is installing unauthorized surveillance aimed at private homes. No names, just the oldest scare tactic, protect the children. An email followed. Gate card suspended. Non-compliant vehicles subject to tow. I filed the incident with the county and met my deputy partner, Deputy Nora Alvarez, for coffee. President blocked the keypad. Bumped my truck, staged a scratch, turned the crowd, I said. Now she's yanked my pass. Got proof? Deputy Nora Alvarez asked. Body cam. And a neighbor's video. Good, she said. People like her live on narratives. We live on evidence. That afternoon another glossy notice appeared, daily fines until I removed my non-compliant vehicle. I pinned it to the fridge beside the first, my growing gallery of petty warfare. Not everything happening in Cedar Ridge was petty. Just past midnight, a white box truck with no logo and a dark plate slipped down my street and glided into the driveway of a supposedly vacant board member's house, Graham Whitby's place. Two men moved with practiced economy, unloading microwave-sized boxes in the dark. 10 minutes in, 10 minutes out. I caught a partial plate in a photo and archived my birdhouse camera footage. The next morning, I brought the photo and downloaded HOA budgets to Ethan Wells, a state forensic accountant I'd trained with back in the day. He skimmed the statements and gave a humorless chuckle. 50 grand for front gate flowers. 80,000 a year to maintain a dozen cameras. He tapped the vendor line. All paid to Hale Property Services, a P.O. box, no trucks, no employees. Classic shell. Numbers are padded to wash outside cash. That night, the white truck returned at 2:08 a.m. Same boxes. Same house. The puzzle was taking shape: inflated contracts, midnight deliveries, a president who ruled by fear. An elderly neighbor, Arthur Briggs, stopped me on the lake path the next evening. Used to be a good place, he said, leaning on his cane. Kids on bikes till dark. Then Monica Hale took over and everything turned mean: paint colors, toys on porches, fines until folks moved. He tipped his cap. Watch your back, son. By Monday, an orange tag hit my door: final warning, tow at 10 p.m., gate access revoked. Dispatch called an hour later. Citizen complaint from Monica Hale: harassment, illegal surveillance, damage to her car. I smiled without humor. She leave out that she rammed me? The sergeant hadn't heard that one. We moved fast. I pushed every file to Deputy Nora Alvarez, my body cam, Lila Hart's video, the birdhouse clips, Ethan Wells's summary. Wednesday night, Monica staged her finale in front of an even larger audience. When I arrived home, she was already at the gate with Trent and Caleb, phone high, voice bright. Neighbors, here's the man who endangered our families. Let's clear this up, I said, and tapped my body cam. The tiny screen filled with that first night, her Lexus lunging, the crunch, the staged wrist scratch, her orders to tow. The sound of her own shouting spilled into the damp air. Doors opened. Curtains pulled wide. Arthur Briggs lifted his cane and called, "Looks clear to me, Miss Hale, you hit his truck." Monica's smile cracked. She slammed into her driver's seat, revved, and rammed my F-150 a second time. Her headlight burst across the asphalt. "Monica Hale," I called, "steady, you're under arrest for assault with a deadly weapon on a law enforcement officer. Hands on the wheel." She froze. "No. You can't. This is my street." I double-clicked my mic. From both ends of the block, cruisers and two unmarked vans rolled in, strobes washing the wet road red and blue. Deputy Nora Alvarez stepped out, vest bright in the lights. "Engine off." "Step out." Monica glanced for a gap, found none, and stepped out trembling but defiant. "I'm the president. I am the law." "Hands where I can see them," Deputy Nora Alvarez said, voice level. The cuffs clicked. The sound carried. Trent lifted his hands. Caleb dropped his flashlight and stared at the ground. "She said you were dangerous," he muttered. "We did what she told us." "You'll have a chance to explain downtown," I said. "Cooperation helps." In the mobile command unit, our techs ingested a USB drive Lila Hart had pulled from the HOA server before anyone could wipe it, ledgers, padded invoices, delivery schedules that matched my night clips. Over the radio, deputies at Graham Whitby's vacant house reported a garage stacked with drones, tablets, and GPS units bearing out-of-state labels, stolen cargo from a regional theft ring. The HOA drama had cracked into felony trafficking. Laundering through Hale Property Services, with fear and fines as cover. Neighbors who'd spent months peering through blinds now stood shoulder to shoulder. Mr. Collins, the Marine veteran with the red Mustang, gave a tight nod. "Sheriff, you did what we couldn't," he said quietly. Lila Hart stood beside him, pale but steady. "I want to see her answer for this," she whispered. At 11:45. Another patrol rolled up with Richard Hale, Monica's husband, in cuffs. Confronted with pallets of stolen electronics in his garage, he'd gone silent. Trent, sweating, confessed how Monica ordered. Staged violations, tossed trash, scuffed paint, planted bags to frame residents, me, especially, as menaces. That sealed intimidation charges. By midnight, the last boxes were catalogued and loaded. Neighbors drifted indoors, porch lights left burning like small declarations, "We saw. We remember." In the days that followed, Hawthorne County filed assault with a deadly weapon, conspiracy, embezzlement, and trafficking charges against Monica Hale, Richard Hale, and their helpers. Ethan Wells's analysis mapped the money, Mike Cam's and Lila Hart's files drew the lines between the shell company and the midnight drops. The HOA board called an emergency meeting. Most of them resigned. A transitional committee invited residents to rewrite bylaws with sunlight built in, audits. Third-party vendors, cameras facing commons, not doorways. A week later, Deputy Nora Alvarez and I sat on my rebuilt porch steps with coffee as the lake breathed mist. "You staying?" she asked. "I am," I said. "Places don't heal by running." Arthur Briggs shuffled by, saluted with his cane. Mr. Collins fired up the Mustang and actually waved. Across the street, Lila Hart tended her flowers in clear daylight, no tarp, no shame. Kids biked past, wobbling and laughing. The gatehouse camera blinked, now logged and audited, toward the road, not the porches. That night, the HOA forum looked different, repair schedules, meeting minutes, one pinned post from the interim chair promising financial transparency. At the bottom, residents had left comments in their own names instead of initials. The fear posture was gone. I scrolled once more through the first clip, rain on chrome, Alexis idling like a threat, and then I archived the file. Not to forget. But because the story had an ending, evidence beat theater, neighbors chose courage over silence, a crooked crown came off without taking the whole village with it. I moved to the porch. The lake throwing silver in the moonlight, and listened to the ordinary sounds of a neighborhood exhaling, screen doors, distant TV laughter, a dog shaking its collar. Peace isn't loud. It's steady. And in Cedar Ridge Estates, steady had finally returned.